Alright, and we're live. Okay, I guess we're doing this. Okay, so I guess I should start out by saying that this video is going to be about mistakes that new witches make, and I've already tried to film this video once so I could put it on like IGTV and YouTube, and it did not work. And so instead of it being uploaded yesterday, I have to do it live today. Ta-da! So this is going to be fun. This is my first live, and I'm really nervous, but I guess I'm just gonna jump into it. I have my list right here, which y'all cannot see because of lighting, but we're gonna try. Alright, so the first thing that people tend to overlook, what new witches tend to overlook, is not learning the basics. The basics of witchcraft would be the history of it. It would be learning the elements, how to set up your altar, cleansing, how to protect yourself, how to ground yourself is really important. Grounding, all of those things are really important, mostly because it helps you with the foundation of magic. And if you don't ground and center yourself, if you don't cleanse yourself, when you go and try to do a spell, you usually end up messing it up or it not working at all to some extent. It's very important. Find a mentor, find a book, Google it, but you gotta learn it. And I noticed I've been doing witchcraft for 7 years, and I've noticed over the past 3 or 4 years that people are just skipping this stuff altogether. And a lot of people are also skipping from like lighter, innocent magic straight into the dark arts. A lot of people starting out do believe in white to black magic, even though magic's like a complete gray area. For beginners, it's still white and black, but it's truly a mix. But like I said, beginners, they just skip into the revenge phase. I don't know. I guess it also comes from not learning the basics, because people just want to jump in and get straight to the spells, and they just want to do the one-time spell to get the revenge on said person, or they just want said person to fall in love with them. It's usually one of the two that makes a person jump into witchcraft impulsively and not learn the basics, and try, and then get mad at it if it doesn't work, or in their case is proven to not be real and it's a bunch of hooey. But you gotta learn the basics. You gotta learn the basics, and there's so many books out there with the basics in it. I'm actually gonna go get one right now because I have better access than I did yesterday. Should not be out of shop. Okay, I guess not. This is one book that can teach you the basics by Scott Cunningham. It is his Book of Shadows. He has another book. Don't remember the title of it, but it's like, I think it's just like Wicca 101, and it's like black with green writing and then like a green border by Scott Cunningham. That one is the one I started with, and then there is one by a different author, and it's called, it's a really big book. It's red, and it's like a guide for the solitary witch. Those are some good books for the basics. And when I say basics, like I said, I mean like the history of it, types of divination, things like that, not necessarily beginner spells and deities, la-di-da. Just like basic traditional origins of Wicca, okay? The origins of the Wicca, the witchcraft, the magic, the universe, the beginning. Gardnerian Wiccan books are probably the most well-known books. I don't know if there are any books specifically for like other umbrellas under Wicca, which is like Dianic and Draconic, things like that. But if you end up with a book on Wicca and it's talking about Gardnerian magic, it's probably a good place to start, because that was like that was the opening of this. It's the start. So if it says Gardnerian on it, or you notice when you start reading the first few chapters that it's Gardnerian, you're probably in the right place. And now it might be a bit of a dry read, but you'll get to where you need. You'll have a nice foundation. The foundation is important. Learn the basics. The basics are important. Learn the basics. The basics are important. Alright, so the second thing that new witches often do is they overdo it. And I wish this wasn't true, but I have done this. I've watched many people over the years do this, and I get it because new witches are really, really excited. They just learned to read tarot cards. They just got tarot cards. They just got their first deck, and then they finally learn how to read them, or they're even borrowing someone else's sometimes. And now they understand it, and now they want to keep practicing it. And so they end up doing a reading every 10 to 15 minutes, which is crazy. And it kind of leads to like a spiritual energy burnout. So, for instance, they'll have their new deck of cards, and they'll start asking about, what do I need to know? And then right after that reading, they will shuffle it again, and they'll move on to like, when am I gonna meet my twin flame? And then they'll probably do like a past life reading right after that, and it just goes on and on all day. And then they'll do it until they run out of questions, and their spiritual energy bank is just like going down and down and down, and they're not cleansing between this. They're not cleansing themselves or the deck. You should be doing both. But yeah, they're running out their energy bank. They're not cleansing in between it. They're not even taking a break in between it, which is really important. And they'll run that out for the day, and then they'll wake up the next day, and then they'll do it again. And then there's the really popular thing of, oh, well, now that I know how to do readings, I'm going to give all of my friends readings on top of that. Which, again, they're still not cleansing in between this. They're still not doing any protective work. Like, it gets very convoluted if you don't cleanse in between it, guys. It gets convoluted. It's very bad. It gets all contaminated, and the energies and frequencies of everything's off. You're off, even though you don't realize it, because you're like overly excited and you're doing too much, and it just like goes right over your head. And I guess that kind of comes from not knowing the basics, because you don't even know that you're supposed to cleanse in between the readings. And I guess those two kind of just like intertwine, because you don't know any better. But that doesn't prevent it from, messing you up. Ignorance does not exempt you of the bad side effects that come with not knowing. So people tend to overdo it a lot, and it's really bad. And I hope that maybe be making this video or teaching people that I have in like certain groups and covens that I'm in, I try to catch as many newcomers and try to fix that, or expose them to said knowledge. So hopefully this is one. You can see now I'm like poking around on my screen. I don't know what I'm doing, but that's fine. So yeah, be careful about overdoing it with readings and cleansings. Just be careful. Just be careful. Use common sense, I guess, is what I'm really trying to say with those two. Use common sense. You best. Alright, so the third one is going to be a very popular one that happens all the time, and it scares me because it's not healthy. So the third mistake that new witches make is going to be online spells. And the reason I'm saying this is because online spells can be dangerous. The best way I could really say this is that people tend to they'll type it in Google, they will click on that first link, they will probably like just skip straight to like printing it out, getting all the ingredients, and then just casting the spell, which is again dangerous. They don't read the spell all the way through, they don't look at the reviews for it, they don't see if it resonates with them. They just jump straight into it with they probably won't even cast a circle when they do this spell. Like, again, that goes back to like no protection and just jumping into things too fast. And baby steps, like in witchcraft, you really need to crawl before you walk, but it doesn't seem to be happening that way, sadly, anymore. And that's why it's kind of why I'm making this video and future videos. But that's what it is. So online spells, you have to be careful because some of them, if you're lucky, I guess you could say, if you're lucky, you'll find a spell online and it just won't work. However, there are spells online which have a different origin, and what you think is a love spell can end up being like some satanic ritual that someone like kind of reformed and like tweaked a little bit. And then I've seen so many people just like accidentally, they find a spell online and then they end up summoning some entity that they were not prepared to handle. And if you're new at this, you have no idea how to protect and or vanquish / banish said entity. That is dangerous. If you are new, I recommend that you have like a seasoned or older witch around, someone that can mentor you, or maybe, I guess that's really one of the only things you can do if you do skip over the basics. Hopefully you know someone who does know how to handle said problem, because I could tell you almost on a daily basis, someone in the world from somewhere will pop in a group and they go, oops, I messed up. I tried this spell and now I have this entity being in this house. And then you have like 7 seasoned witches trying to like collaborate and figure out what this said entity is, and if it's a bad entity or if it's a good entity, and then how to get rid of it. Hi, Talia. But yeah, you got these people trying to figure out how to help you, and most of us are not even within a 300-mile radius of said person. Like, I'm in Florida and they're all the way in freaking Washington, and you know, it becomes very difficult to explain to a beginner how to vanquish something when they're all the way on the other side of the country, because usually new witches don't also have the tools that they need to do said things. And then at that point, it's also really hard, just because usually new witches are freaked out at that point because they accidentally have summoned something, and you know, now this is probably a bad experience for them, and they've just like sworn off, like, I'm just never doing this again, when they should have just researched a little bit more, cleansed a little bit more, you know, and just taken some precautions, which is why you should always cast a magic circle first. You should always be casting a magic circle before doing any spell. Even if you're meditating, you still should probably be casting magic circle, okay? Which I'll probably end up making a video on, but that's a video for another time. So online spells, potentially dangerous. Some of them work. Just double check with like seasoned witches. Trust me, if you just like go into a Facebook group with like thousands of members in it, there's Discords, there's everything for it. You could just pop in one of them and be like, hey, I'm trying to get this accomplished. Trust me, we will help you, because we don't want you to mess it up and we don't want you to get yourself in more trouble than need be. We want you guys to be safe. We want you guys to enjoy magic, because it is something that can be enjoyed. You know, so just take your time, relax, and if something does happen, you know, don't panic, or panic maybe like a little bit. Try to hold it in, because freaking out does not help the situation. But be careful of the online spells, and even some of the spells in the books that you read. Some of them aren't good. But again, if you're lucky, they just won't work, hopefully. So be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Read the spell all the way through first before printing or doing anything with it. Read it all the way through. Make sure it makes some sense. And if it's a good online forum, it'll explain to you why you're doing what you're doing, why you're using a pink candle, why you're using, you know, all the ingredients that they're using in the spell and what they do. And you can cross-reference it from there. Alright, so the 4th mistake that new witches make is joining a coven too soon, because we think that covens are the best things in the world, and that is mostly because Hollywood. I blame Hollywood for that one solely. That's all Hollywood. Is it fun? Is it cool? Yes, but the purpose of covens is for a bunch of witches to come together, and you know, everyone tries to, it's called the cone of power. Everyone like amps up their energy, their magical energy, and then they feed it into one frequency or one stream of magic, So it's just a lot of little people making like one big stream of magic for a similar purpose. So group magic is group magic basically. Now, the problem with this is people who jump into covens too soon are usually going to be asked to do group magic because it's a group thing and they want everyone to participate, which is cool. But when you jump in too soon and you haven't learned your foundations and your basics, you have not mastered any of your energy control. You don't know how to match the frequencies around you. You don't know, again, cleansing, really important. You don't know how to cleanse. And it only takes one person to mess it up, and I promise you, you do not want to be that one person. Also, another thing with joining a coven too soon is that there are many branches of Wicca. There's Gardnerian, there is eclectic, eclectic being just people who gather information and rituals and things from all different backgrounds, religions. I want to say mythical pantheons because people use like Olympian gods and stuff all the time. You know, and so they grab it from there. And then you have Dianic Wicca, you have Draconic Wicca. Hi. There's probably more than that. I'm sure there's more than that, but that's like a good 4 or 5, right? And some people just want to so badly join a coven that they'll just jump into the first coven that's willing to accept them. And as a person who's not too sure about anything and just really needs a mentor, they don't know what questions to ask said coven members. They don't know the potential hierarchies of said coven members. They don't know what the expectations that they're going to have to meet are. They don't know what their role is in it. And going back to Gardnerian Wicca, if you join a group for Gardnerian Wicca, which is a religion with certain beliefs, you know, if you don't know the certain beliefs of said thing, you might be getting involved with Gardnerian Wicca and their beliefs and their structure, when what would be more natural for you is maybe eclectic, because you want to get your hands on like all different types of magic and experiment with it first. Or Gardnerian Wiccan is said to be maybe not the best match. Hi, Mom. It's just said to not be the best match for feminists, because the alternative for Gardnerian Wicca for the feminists would be like Dianic Wicca, which is with the moon goddess, and she watches over everyone, and she's nurturing, and she's peaceful, that type of thing. So definitely want to ask the questions of what their beliefs are, what the rules are, when their meetings are, because it's not going to go too well if you join a coven and you can't get to any of the meetups, or you don't know when the meetups are, and you don't actually end up like being able to participate in anything coven-wise, because there are still some covens that meet in person and they don't do everything online. So you got to be aware of that. But I guess I'll make another video on that as well, of what questions you want to ask when joining a coven. So I'm just going to make a note of that. What questions to ask. And you can do real people, like in-person covens, in-person covens. You can do, there's some covens on Amino, there's covens on Discord, there's many covens on Facebook. Like, y'all should be all down for that. And they're pretty nice on Facebook, because I'm in a few of them, and you are allowed to join more than one coven in today's day and age. I mean, traditionally, you were only allowed to be in one, but with the way things are and the way that people are trying to spread like spells and magic and market their shops, it's totally fine if you're in more than one coven. But I promise you're going to end up with a preferred coven, especially if you're in like Facebook group coven, so there's that. But yeah, no problem. I will probably put it in the comment section down below, the ones that I'm in on Facebook and Discord. So yeah, look out for that. Alright, so the 5th mistake that new witches make is reaching out to the same deity forever. Okay. This is just one that I particularly, this is my opinion. Let me just get that across. In my opinion, just something I've noticed and something that I had to get out of myself. So, when you're a beginner, there's a bunch of common or well-known gods. You have like basic religion gods, like you have the Christian God, Allah, from like the Muslim religion. You got Buddhism, which is technically not a god, but you know, the Buddha, for people who look at it that way. And then you have like the Greek god and goddesses. You got Aphrodite, Zeus, Hades. You got the Ifa religion. You got Papa Legba. I don't know if I said that right, but that's not really the one I use. And then you have like, I guess, custom tailored god and goddesses. Like specifically, my god and goddess. If you put it into Google, you would not find it. They're just spirits that I happen to run across in meditation that are my god and goddess and presented themselves when I called out to them. Isis is a popular goddess, or saints. You got Saint Expedite, Saint Jude. I'm not good with saints. I don't really use saints too much. Trying to think if there's another one that I'm missing that's really popular. I'm drawing a blank here, but anyway, those are a few. So basically, what happens with those is that you'll be a new, bright, starry-eyed beginner, and you're probably on a forum or you're looking at it, and either you're seeing a lot of people get results from using this said deity entity. I'm going to use Isis for this example specifically, and you hear this wonderful story of, I'm going to probably change this up a little bit. You hear this beautiful story of someone, you know, going to sleep one night after putting offerings out, and, you know, they have a dream, and Isis comes in a room, and then, like, her wings are, like, huge. She spreads out her beautiful wings, and they're, like, 8 feet long each, and it takes up the whole room, and she's glowing, and she looks all beautiful, XYZ, and then you get really inspired by that story. And you're like, okay, you know, I want something like that to happen to me. I think she'd be really cool to work with because she specializes in ABC, 1, 2, 3. And so you start doing the offerings and you start petitioning her and praying. And you're just like, I'd like to work with you, Isis, please, 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 please. And then a week passes, and then 2 weeks pass, and then a month pass, and you're still trying to petition the same deity. You're not petitioning or trying to get with any other deity. You're not looking at Hades. You're not looking at Aphrodite. You just put all those on the back burner, if ever. You know, and then some people have gone up to 6 months to a year. And what beginners do not understand about this process is that even though everyone else is working with said deity, does not mean that you're meant to work with said deity. Would it be nice? Probably, but if it's not for you, or not for you at the moment, because sometimes it does change down the line when you're more experienced, that you can end up working with the deity, that, you know, you just end up putting everything else off. And I feel like this can be a bit of a hindrance to beginners because, A, there's no rule saying that you can't petition more than one deity at once. So if you want to petition a god and a goddess, or 2 goddesses or 2 gods, you know, you can do that. That is a thing. But maybe I think what would be helpful for what I've been seeing lately is saying, or putting a timeline on it, like if they don't contact me back, if they don't get back to me, if I don't receive any signs from the universe after a month, 2 months, I will try to petition another deity. And in the beginning, especially in the beginning, having a deity is not as necessary as people are making it out to be. If I'm being 100% honest, it's you need to work with your own energy for a good amount of time, You don't need a deity in your first year. You don't need a spirit guide in your first year. Definitely shouldn't be working with no demons in your first year. Yes, people have tried. That is why I am stating that. But it is not vital. You can do magic without it. I feel like having a god and goddess and whatnot should come in later, because that's working with extra energy. Like personally, you contain like this much, and when you start doing spell work, you might need, your energy and a little bit of deity energy, or depending on like if you're doing a lot more magic, you're gonna need a lot more energy, obviously. But you don't need to start with like this much energy in your like spell work arsenal. You don't need that. And that's just the truth of the matter. But you don't need to spend so long petitioning the same deity. And like I said, you can always come back to it. So if you really want to look for a deity, again, try like segmenting it out. Alright. And number 6, which we kind of already touched on, is not cleansing yourself and not cleansing your stuff. I have some stuff back here. No, not that. Yeah, I got a whole box of stuff right here. I'm just gonna take out this one because it's right here. This is the Wild Offering Oracle, if anyone's interested. It has these little okay. Lighting issues. Okay, right. Okay, right there. Okay. You get your first deck, and then first thing beginners do is they start shuffling and they start reading, and that's it. They do the same thing with the crystals. They go to the store. They get like a handful of crystals. They bring them home and they start making crystal grids with them. Which is kind of not safe. It's not healthy. It makes things inaccurate if you don't cleanse them first, because it still has a bunch of other energies and frequencies all over it, and it should have your energy all over it, specifically all of your clean, good energy, because you did a ritual bath and cleanse before you started this, right? Right. So I'm just gonna run over quickly a few ways to cleanse your stuff. Some people will like just they'll blow off the stagnant old energy. Just some people knock on it to like wake it up. That's not one that I use too much, but I know a lot of people do it. It's one of the ones that I've actually learned earlier in the year, the blowing and knocking on it thing, which is kind of cool. Some people like run it through an incense smoke. Elements obviously are a good way, because Wicca's like all natural elemental stuff. So you want to like run them in water. You want to rest them on like a selenite plate or salt, Himalayan salt, Himalayan pink salt, regular salt. You just want to like kind of like nuzzle it in there when you like put it on the plate. You could do a singing bowl, which I'm not going to do because I don't know how the sound is going to be from the singing bowl, but basically you use the singing bowl and run the little wood stick around it, and it makes a noise that cleanses the stone. We do not put the crystal inside of the singing bowl. You will change the frequency of the crystal and the bowl and potentially crack your crystal, and I promise you, you don't want that. You will end up with crystal dust, put it that way. So you don't want to do that, but yes, cleansing it is very important. You can put it in fire, like I said, smoke, water. You can bury it. Some people bury it. Earth signs are really popular for doing that. They'll put it in a bag. They'll go bury it in the backyard for 2 or 3 days, and then they'll come back to it. A lot of beginners aren't that patient. When they get something, they want to use it. There's just no way in their mind they're going to be able to wait that 2 to 3 days. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, you should definitely cleanse them, and even though I store my crystals in a bag, maybe don't put all your crystals in the same place, like too close where they're always touching each other. But yeah, there's also another thing that beginners can do that they skip over, since you guys want to be doing all the readings anyway. There's actually a way to get to know your deck, and whether it's going to be one of the decks that is going to be like very blunt and just tell you what's going on when you're doing a reading up front, bluntly as possible, just like really straightforward, or if it's going to be a deck that's going to like maybe sugarcoat it and put it lightly to you, things like that. There are spreads for that online that you can use. Those are usually, from what I've seen, they're pretty safe if you do those spreads. Some of them are like 15 questions long, so you guys might really be interested in that. I personally don't do that, or at least not a lot. I definitely don't do it with every deck. I've only done it with like once or twice in the past year. But yeah, that's a interesting spread that I didn't really know existed, but apparently people have made spreads for that, so you should check that out. I really should have gotten like a soda before doing this live stream. But yeah. Cleanse yourself. Cleanse yourself. Cleanse your stuff. Ground, center, protect. Right. Number 7 is huge, and that is not researching your herbs. So, the thing with this one is it can get you sent to the hospital, and it has happened to people, and I am so happy that I am not one that's drawn to do herbs and oils. Well, kind of into oils, but on like a small scale, just because I want to like have some products to sell in the future, but I'm still working on that. But some people, they want to get like straight into the potion making segment of being a witch, and they want to do like the oils, the like lotions and stuff. The actual name is slipping my mind. They want to make all the things. They want to make all the waters, all the oils, and all the lotions, soaps, and the thing that I cannot like, and creams. There you go. And they want to make all the creams and stuff for it. Or they want to like dress their candle and add it to their candles and stuff, but they don't research what it does for their spell work, and they usually like put too much of it. Like, you'll be watching a video of someone doing some spell work, and then they'll put like, maybe the person in the video is putting like a teaspoon in it, and then you guys as beginners tend to go and put like a cup load on it, and it's no. And then a lot of people, they don't research like how it affects the human skin. Like, people have gotten, again, they've gotten like rashes, they've had to go to the ER from it, they're putting it places they shouldn't. Don't put anything in your eye, do not put anything below waist level, don't do it. Your skin is very sensitive, and people are using herbs for the first time, and they're putting it all over their body from head to toe, and then they end up in the ER. And I really shouldn't have to explain this, but apparently I do, because people keep making said mistake. Hi! But yeah, people keep making these mistakes by jumping into herbs too early. Make sure that your skin specifically does not have a harsh or bad reaction to it. I would start out with, researching what it does, and if it can be put in water, and what it can and cannot be mixed with, and what part of the plant you should be getting, because in witchcraft, not everything is like a petal, right? Sometimes you get like the root, sometimes you get the stem of the plant. Make sure you're getting the right part of the plant so you don't accidentally poison yourself or something. Just like mix some of it up, grind some of it up, and like put it on the back of your hand maybe, okay? But don't be putting it near your face and all your other sensitive body parts and stuff, okay? Don't do that. Bad reactions and horror stories come out of that. So go easy. This is literally one of those things where you should be taking your herbs with a pinch of salt, okay? Okay. That's my warning. Hopefully someone who needs this will see it. Alright. Number 8, we're almost done. The belief that things must be gifted to you, which brings us back to, yeah, I'm pulling out a different one this time. Ooh, ooh. This is the Secret Language of Light, also an oracle deck. So there's this really popular belief that I've been seeing creep around the internet about 3 to 4 years ago, and I frankly till this day don't know where it came from, and a lot of seasoned witches, including myself, are looking around like, how did this happen? Who did you hear this from? And it's basically just like a really popular myth, and I don't know where people are getting it from, and I still have not met one seasoned witch online or in person that actually like agrees with it, I suppose. And it's usually because we get new people popping in and they're just like, man, I really want to start doing tarot cards, oracle cards, I want a pendulum, some type of divination work tool, and they're just like, I really want to start. And we're like, okay, so what's stopping you? And they're just like, well, you know, I heard that it has to be gifted to me, like I have to have like a seasoned witch or a seasoned psychic or someone who has it. They have to gift it to me. Someone has to give it to me. And we're like, okay, well that's a load of crap. Because I'm not gonna lie, most of us witches, psychics, whatever you identify as in the supernatural witchy community or whatever, most of us don't end up giving our decks away. There are YouTube videos with people who have like 115 tarot and oracle decks, right? Now, some people very rarely give their stuff away, but for the most part, we keep our stuff. We do not gift it away. We do not give it away. Some people, when they're no longer using a tarot deck, they will like they'll start pasting the cards into their Book of Shadows. Like, there are so many alternative uses that we start using our tarot cards from. The chances of it getting passed down from a reliable friend and source to you is little to none. Even if we know we have too many, we still end up buying more. So again, little to none. And then we try to explain to new people is that, well, what are you going to do if someone does gift it to you and you don't like it or you don't resonate with it? For instance, my boyfriend is Gardnerian Wiccan, so he'd probably have decks that will revolve or have a theme of plants, trees, herbs, rocks, water, rivers, crystals, blah, blah, you know, XYZ. But I don't really resonate with trees and nature and stuff. I like things that are kind of colorful. Like, I have a crystal deck, and then I have that Secret Language of Light, which is just like pictures of like frequencies, like the wavelengths and stuff. I don't really have any decks that have like pictures of animals in them, and there are many tarot that are dedicated to like, they all have like animals in it, or they have like fairy themed decks. There's a manga themed deck, watercolors, there's one with just tea leaves in it. There are so many decks. What if you get one that you don't like? You're not going to be able to use it to the best of your ability. You're not going to be able to use it as well as you could be using a deck that you just were drawn to yourself, that you were intuitively drawn to pick up by yourself. It doesn't work as well, even if you would like it to. If it does not connect, if it doesn't spark anything in you to use it, like a book you get from the library, you're probably going to be like, you know, I really don't like that too much, and put it on the shelf until you have to return it. Forget about it. You're not going to use it. You're not going to have the amount of fun. You're not going to have the experiences that you thought you were going to have. Like, it does not need to be gifted to you. If you want to get into tarot cards or a pendulum or any of those things, they have crystal kits now where it comes with like 9 or 10 crystals in it, like rose quartz, aventurine, amethyst, citrine, and stuff. They have like, there used to be a crystal kit Bible that they used to sell. It was like this freaking big, and it had like 9 rocks in it. But they used to have that. I think they remade it now. If you want tarot, they sell those in the spiritual and religion section of Barnes and Nobles. In my experience, at my particular Barnes and Nobles that there was quite a few. I don't know if that's all Barnes and Nobles, but usually they're there. You can get them off of Amazon Prime. Use Amazon Prime and get it as fast as you possibly can. You know, just make sure to cleanse it. Or go to your local metaphysical witch store. Ask around if you know any witches, where they're going. Maybe balance out the two. There was two where I used to live at in Miami that everyone went to. One was definitely better than the other. Didn't prevent us from using both. But one was definitely had a leg up on the other. So find some local shops and do that. But definitely does not have to be gifted. I am doing everything I can to remove this myth from newcomers in the community. Alright, so last tip, and then the live stream will be over. I promise. Number 9, the biggest, and I do mean the biggest mistake that new witches make is not believing in yourself. And this is problematic because, and it's kind of back and forth. It's a hard place to get out of. I'm not gonna lie, because all of us seasoned witches, we've been there, we've done that, and so you'll do a love spell as a beginner, and it's usually, I want John to fall in love with me. And so you go and you get your red candle and you stick it on the plate and you light the candle. You do the prayer chant or whatever you found out of a book or on the internet. And you do it and you go, pretty please, I really want this, and I hope it comes true. Also, disclaimer, those are all the wrong words to be using for a spell. We do not, I hope, I want, I wish. Don't use those words. Just stay away from the I wish, I hope, pretty please. Don't do that. But that's what a beginner will do. They go, I wish, I hope John will fall in love with me. And then the candle burns all the way down and they watch it, and then the spell is technically done, but then for the next week they're just like, I don't really know if it's gonna work, or I don't think it's working, and I wouldn't be surprised if it wouldn't work. And when you're verbalizing all these things to yourself or to others, or when you're having any of these doubts, every time you do that, you're canceling out your own spell, which is contradictory. If you do a spell, you have to believe it's going to work. You're going to have to believe that it's going to do what you told it to do. And like I said, it's a really hard place to come out of, because as a beginner, you're not sure how much you really believe in magic. Because you've never seen it, or it's like never been proven to you. And another thing we have a problem with when we're starting out as witches is that, like, even when that first spell works, we'd be like, it was a fluke. Second time, it was a fluke. And honestly, I'm probably guilty of this, and I know a lot of other people are guilty of it. You can have 15 flukes in a row, and you're still telling yourself, I'm still not so sure I believe it, or, it happens to work every time that I do it. I don't really know how that works, but if you just believe in the work that you were doing, it will pan out perfectly, and you won't have to worry about it like backfiring. You won't have to worry about it not working. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. And you just have to believe in yourself, and like I said, beware of those words of I wish, I hope. I would kind of like it if, when you're doing spell work, you want to say, I will have, or how did I do it for Beltane, which is a holiday? I will be able to market myself better. I will be able to pass my classes, or I will pass my classes. I will have a 4.0 GPA. I will get a raise at work. Those are the things that you want to be saying or writing for your spell work. It's not I wish, because if you wish, you will be wishing the rest of your life. And people say, or witches say, the universe does not work on maybes. It understands yes, no, and everything else is just like up in the air. So you wish, you're going to be wishing on that star in the sky the rest of your life, and that's not really what you want. What you want is for your rent to be paid on time. What you want is that extra $600. What you want is to profit off of that scratch off ticket that you bought down the store. Get like win like $50 on like a $2 ticket or something. Things like that. No wishing. We don't wish. We know it's going to happen. We know what we want is going to come into fruition. You know, but that's just one of those things that you kind of have to work on with like time and practice. And even with advanced witches, we still kind of like slip up sometimes with that one. But hopefully you'll be able to build a better habit now that you have watched this video and kind of know that. I will be doing a second video of the mistakes that advanced witches make, so be on the lookout for that. Anyway, that's enough for this one video. I've probably been talking forever, but I had a lot to say because there's a lot of mistakes that witches make, and this was probably just the surface level of them. Probably should make a video on questions I want people to stop asking witches when they first come into the community, but that's, again, another video. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna try and see if Facebook's gonna let me save it so I can put it on like my YouTube and other pages and channels and stuff. Anyway, bye!